A very important concept to learn in the Olympiads and one to master is learning how to find the HCF and LCM in seconds. And that is what I'm going to teach you today. First, we'll learn about the HCF. The HCF means the highest common factor between two or more numbers. We'll take a elementary example first. Let's take an example of 18 and 12. If we were to list down 18's factors, you would get 1, 2, 3, 6, 9 and 18. And for 12, you would get 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 and 12. We can see here that the greatest common factor here is 6. So we get 6. But that is a very slow method. If we were to use a similar method than the one that we use in prime factorization, we would get a better result. One that we can clearly think of using our divisibility rules is they are both divisible by 2 because both of them end in an even number. We write 2 here and then we divide both of these numbers by 2, which gives us 9 and 6. Then we can also find that both of these numbers are divisible by 3 because 9 and 6, they're both divisible by 3, so 3. 2, 3. Now we know that 2 and 3 are co-primes. So they don't have any common factor besides of 1. So multiplying these two will get us our HCF, which will be 2 into 3, which is 6. Another method to find the HCF is to find the difference between the two numbers that are given. Let's take another example, one that will help us sum this up easily. Okay, so let's take an example of 50 and 46. Now the difference between 50 and 46 is of 4, right? But we know that 4 is not a common factor, so we can break apart the factors of 4. 4 is 1, 2 and 4. Okay, so 4 we know is not the common factor. 2 is a common factor. So we do 25 and 23. Since 23 is a prime number, they co-prime, and 2 is the common factor. If there is a difference of 4, then we know that the greatest common factor cannot be more than 4, and also that it has to be a factor of 4. Okay, so now let's move on to finding a trick for the LCM. And how do we exactly do that, right? LCM is a bit of a harder concept, I would say, because it forces you to deal with bigger numbers. Okay, so let's take an example. For LCM, we have to find the lowest common multiple. This will come in use in fractions when you're trying to add or subtract fractions, right? So an example would just be of 18 and 12 again, right? If we were to find the lowest common multiple, what we would be taught is that multiply 18 and 12, right? That would give us, what would that give us? That would give us 36, 18. That would give us 216. Now think of ways that we can cut this down. We know that if we divide this by 2, we would get 108, and that is divisible by both of these numbers. We also know that if we divide this by 3, 36, that is also divisible by both these numbers. We can't cut this down further. But this method is more tricky and it requires you to work on intuition and work on a lot of other work on hit and trial and many other ways, right? This would take a lot of time, especially in an Olympiad. So what I suggest you do is first find out the HCF really quickly using this method, which would give you 6, right? And then after multiplying these numbers, just divide this number by 6. 216 divided by 6, you get 36. And that's how you find the LCM in minutes. A very quick and easy way to find it out. Thank you.